In this video, I'm going to explain how you can control your emotions for better mental health and well-being. Now, the first caveat to this is we're going to change mental health to emotional health because it's more accurate. Now, we all know, what mental health means, but we don't talk about it that much, so we don't really go in depth. And really, mental health is emotional health. It's much more applicable this way because then we can actually make changes in a real functional setting. So, let's apply some of this after we talk about control. The first thing that you need to know before we dive into the simple function of how to do it is that you've never had control over your emotional function. You've never been able to control it. And you don't want this, I promise. Anytime we try to control it, only happens when there's negative emotions present. I hear it all the time in sessions where people say, hey, I feel crappy. Here's my examples. Here's what's happened to me. Here's what's going on. And some of it's real deep, real thick, real crappy. Really a bummer, to be quite honest. And the first thing they say is, how do I get it over with? What do I do about it, right? That's always it. We look for a physical function of like, let me take action to do something about it, right? Now, I'm not saying do nothing, but it's a different kind of doing that we need to do, which is less of doing and more about being, all right? Because when we try to control, we have to understand our body's process of how it controls emotion. The way that the body controls emotion is it switches into fight or flight mode. And switching into fight or flight mode consists of two physical functions. One, our consciousness or our focus moves strictly to our head. We're no longer aware of our body, and we switch to our head and our mind because there's no emotion up here. It's like a big calculation relay station. It's a big informational function, right? We don't actually feel up here. Like your brain literally cannot feel. There's no proprioception up there, okay? Your body, however, has the experience. So what you're doing is you're trying to scatter, which is a function of your fight or flight response, is when you are in that survival mentality, that survival mode. You're literally trying to distract yourself from feeling because your consciousness wants to be up here, which will do two things. It'll worry about the future and it'll worry about the past. Both of those do not exist at all. So, what you're going to want to do is realize that your consciousness is trying to get somewhere that doesn't exist, right? And replays scenarios and functions and possible future outcomes, past events that have occurred to you, and what you might say and what might happen. There's almost like an infinite amount of scenarios that are not real. But that doesn't keep us from tightening up, and this is the second function that you do. One, you distract yourself by coming up here, and then you start to tighten up and you stop or minimize your breath. That's a fight or flight function. Your breath becomes really shallow and tight, and you don't even notice it because you're so distracted that you realize, hey, I'm not even breathing. So, this is the first step. Become aware. Awareness is 90% of the battle. You become aware of what's going on in your body. When it comes to your mental health, or you're saying, like I need a mental health day, whatever mode you get into, whenever you want to change something, realize that there's something happening. And then you need to take inventory, all right? You need to realize what's happening physically, okay? Be aware that there's all these stories, right? But all those stories, no matter what you think about, have a physical experience going on when you think about the stories or the trigger person or the event or the imaginary possibilities that could happen that are not happening currently because you're watching this video, probably in a very comfortable setting. Okay? So, first things first, breathe. Take quite a few of these breaths. Breathe until your body starts to calm down and relax a little, all right? It's not going to let go of whatever it is by holding on really tight, okay? And I actually don't want you to let go at all. I want you to shift your mentality once you start to breathe to the place where instead of controlling and getting rid of it, we need to learn what it is and give ourselves or our body an opportunity to master it, right? Instead of get rid of it. Because it's going to boil down to one of two things, anger or sadness. Both of those are not going to you're never going to get rid of those, ever, all right? So if you're not going to ever stop experiencing sadness and anger, which you're not, it's just going to happen, you'll just get better at expressing it and interacting with it and engaging in it, okay? So give yourself that opportunity now. Easiest way to do that is breathe. Now become aware of what the thoughts were. Think back to like where your mind was going, why it was racing, what was happening, what the trigger person or point or story is. The thing that's bringing up the emotion in your body. Okay? It's going to start bringing that back up and making you tighten up a little bit more and stop breathing. So breathe again. Okay? Remind yourself, go back through the steps. It's going to take some time. This is not an easy thing, but we're going to simplify it, okay? And I want you to realize what it has to deal with, if there's a common theme, if there's a common thread, right? And then I want you to realize what it physically feels like. Become aware of the physical experience of emotions. Many people, almost all of us, I would say 90% of us, get caught up in the story of what happened. And the story does not exist right now. You're watching a video of me. Whatever happened to you does not exist right now, okay? What exists is how you feel. And it's the whole point of having experiences. It's the whole point of being alive, right? Is to actually live. Not survive, live, okay? So you're going to get out of survival mode. You're going to shift out of your head, back into your heart, your body, by breathing, okay? You're going to become aware of what it physically feels like. Now, we've coined a lot of phrases where I've found a lot of the majority of where people store emotions or where people experience emotions. Heart-wrenching experience, pit in my stomach, a lot of that is very real, all right? So, kind of check in on your torso. Heart and gut, big deal, all right? Check in on those areas, see if it's heavy, see if it's tense, see if it's burning, see if it's sharp pain, a dull pain, a frustrating pain. Just pay attention to it for a minute and get to know it, okay? Ask yourself some questions. What type of pain is this? What does it physically feel like? And try to describe it out loud right now, okay? Breathe while you're feeling it. It's going to make it much easier to physically feel it and not get caught up in the story. So breathe. Now, this is the third step that you've already started, right? Third, or we're on the third step, right? Maybe fourth. I can't remember. Anyway, this is the next step that's going to keep you engaged. Is as you focus on the physical area, right, that hurts, that's heavy, that feels crappy, whatever it is, as you focus on it, you're bringing your attention to that spot where normally your attention is somewhere else, scattered into somewhere else, right? Somewhere that does not exist. Now it's being focused inward on the current moment of what's actually happening here and now. The physical part of your body that's screaming at you, right? We think it's because something happened to us, but that's another video, right? The point is it's here, okay? It's here and it's been here. It's been here for a long time. So you might as well take a minute, focus in on it, because what you're doing when you focus on it is you're giving it attention. Normally you don't do that. And attention is the most simple form of love. So, providing something with love changes the frequency around that, gives it an opportunity for change, gives it an opportunity to shift if you'd like it to. But That's kind of a simple question. If you can focus on how crappy this feels and ask yourself the question, do I want it to change? Do I want to change it? Most of the time, like, I've very rarely heard no, right? People want to change it. If you're looking for this video, if you're searching for stuff like this, you want to make some change, here's the change. Make it easy, make it simple, okay? Pay attention to it so that a high frequency goes around it, and you actually hold it with love, which is what attention is, and give it the opportunity to change. Then breathe again. Remind yourself to breathe. You got to, over and over. Now, two things are going to happen with your breath. One, you're going to oxygenate your body, right? You're getting oxygen to those cells, which utilize the oxygen as a form of power and processing power, right? It'll start to actually process things. Your breath is also simultaneously going to give your body this wonderful process. As you breathe, your lungs will pump, of processing physical waste, okay? Now, you're going to do it at a cellular level just by breathing, all right? What's going to happen is your body is pumping with your lungs, as you breathe, your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is this really cool system that has all these glands all over your body in all the major elbow pits and arm pits and knee pits and everywhere. There's a ton of these things everywhere. They're here, right? You get sick, those start to swell up. We're not processing properly. We're not breathing a lot, right? Breathing is the only thing that pumps this system and gets it moving. And what it does is takes the waste out of your body to your bladder, your cellular waste, and out of your body. Okay? Processes physical function. So, breathe. It's going to give power to your cells and all that heaviness that normally gets ignored, right? And you're going to breathe, which will literally start to physically process the stored emotion. It's become a problem only because it's every time you experience it, you bury it. And you get distracted by your mind, by something else going on. Rather than allowing yourself to be in it, you try to do something to get away from it. So, these 5 steps can be boiled down. I don't even know, is it 5 steps? I don't even remember how many steps. But this process can be boiled down to a simple function. Stop doing so much and learn to be. A lot can happen by allowing yourself to be in an emotion. The doing will naturally come. You're not going to doubt what you're doing from feeling it, right? After it's processed, you'll have a little more clarity of what you want to do about it. But first, you need to ride that initial wave that usually gets you into fight or flight and usually gets you stuck in your head for hours, days, weeks. Sometimes that's just people's lives. They've done it so long, it's become such a pattern that they don't really know what else to do or how else to function. It just becomes their personality. So, get out of it. Breathe as a first thing. Become aware of what's happening, all right? If you're stuck in your head or if you're focused on your body, breathing is going to help with this process. That's why we do it first, okay? Breathing is also going to do the next 2 steps, which is oxygen into your body, oxygen to those places. Your focus is also assisting in this to process it. You're going to feel stuff almost immediately as you literally focus on it. If closing your eyes helps so that you can literally visualize the part of your body and the heaviness that's in there, you'll start to see that it will lessen as you focus on it and breathe. Very simple. And it will actually process. If you stay with it, it will process all the way to where it feels like it's not there anymore at all. This is you giving your body an opportunity to master emotion, okay? And you're getting rid of stored, unexpressed emotion. You're giving it the time of day that it normally wouldn't get. So please, pay attention to your body and stop getting so stuck in your head, all right? I hope this helped. Practice it. Try it as much as you can because the world's only going to become a better place when you do this, which is the whole goal, all right? Thanks for listening. See ya.